You may have been hidden for a long time, but you've been faithful. You've been growing, getting prepared. I believe and declare God is about to bring you out. He's about to cause you to be seen. People are going to notice you that have never noticed. Keep being faithful. Your appointed time is on the way. In Jesus' name. And if you receive it, can you say amen today?
95% of our decisions are made by how you feel in the moment. And that is the problem. Do you feel like getting up? No. Do you feel like making that cold call? No, you don't. Do you feel like doing that third set of reps? No, you don't. We make decisions based on our feelings, and that is robbing you of joy and opportunity.
I will my way to the top. Some of you got that same fight in you, but you fight people. You're still cussing folk out. You're still laying hands on people. That's the easy fight. Now fight your bad habits. Fight your addictions now. Fight your laziness. Fight your procrastination. Take that energy now and fight to get a degree. Fight to start a company. Fight. Most of y'all where y'all are because you never take ownership. It's always somebody else's problem. It's always somebody else's fault why you didn't do what you were supposed to do. It's not their fault. Take ownership. Take the parts that belong to you. Why? Because I'm the one that's messing up opportunities. I'm the one that keeps repeating my past. And you need to free yourself up and start doing something new. But you can't do new until you get rid of that old. Cut it off. Cut it off. Cut it off. Do what you're supposed to do. You ain't no boy no more. Understand every time you point the finger that what you saying to your dreams and goals is, I'm about to put you on hold. You got to take ownership. I take full responsibility. And I'll do whatever it takes. I'll take ownership. I'll get up. I'll stay late. And that's why you point the finger, because you don't like how the pain feels. That's why you say he did it and she did it. That's why you give the power away, because it hurt too bad to say, I did it, I take ownership. It was my fault. That's why you point the finger. You ain't ready for the pain. You wrong. You got ideas. You got talent. You got gifts. Stop shrinking down. Stop minimizing yourself. Take the risk on you. Take the risk on you. You own you. And there's some of you, you know what you want, but you are not personally willing to do the work it takes to get it. What you're trying to do is do what you've done on this level and get the next level. You're like, I'm getting up every day. I'm lifting weights. I'm eating right. And I'm not getting the opportunity. It might require getting up and working out 3.5. It might require you saying no to your friends. It might require you changing your diet. It might require you moving to another city. Whatever it takes, you got to be willing to do it. And you keep saying you're not there because of something else, because it's easier to blame somebody else. I have to take complete ownership. Internally, I had to look at all the things that I didn't have control over and say, I got to take control. Everybody want to be a business. Everybody want a six-pack. Nobody tell you the pain that come with it. You're putting in work, and just because you can't see the result, you want to quit or give up. I ain't never quit. I ain't never give up. I ain't never give in. I just kept grinding. If you keep going, you're going to break through. The only people that don't break through are the people who scoreboard watching. When you go out there, I need you to have that dog. When you get out there, I need you to kill or be killed when you get out there. We ain't playing no more. We ain't taking no prisoners no more. When you get out there, whatever you can get, go get it. Because they going to get it before you get it. And they ain't going to give it to you. So you go out there and get what's yours. When you leave this room, you take care of dog on every single thing. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your background is. Don't let nobody fool you. If you're willing to grind on Monday, if you're willing to grind on Tuesday, they can't stop you. I don't have to accept the life that was given to me. I can create my own reality.
I wonder what wall you think is stopping God from doing what he's doing in your life right now.
We have to fight the good fight of faith. There's only one acceptable attitude toward fear, and it's this: I will not fear.
You will come out of it not with less respect, but with more respect than had they not tried to hold you down. What's meant for harm, God will turn to your advantage.
Joy, well, it is the strength of the Lord in your life. Joy is your strength to keep on going.
The great people, they look ahead, but the fool never looks ahead, and they suffer the consequence. You anticipate, what are the potential barriers between me and my goal?
Pray as if everything depends upon God, and work as if everything depends upon you. And so, part of the process. It's working on yourself.
Now I want you to ask yourself, what are the things that I'm doing on a daily basis that whether I want to live or I need to live?
How am I going to improve? When the crisis is over, do I come out better or do I come out bitter? Wow, that's a huge, huge issue.
Drama and dysfunction is the orchestration and works of the devil. And when things are blessed, you purposely try and figure out a way to make it stressed.
And it requires everyone to courageously confront the tyranny that's them and the unknown that surrounds them, and to work for their own benefit and for the benefit of their families and for the benefit of their communities, and to do everything they can to benefit the world and to live with true speech as the highest value. That's how we sort out the world.
It's not your fault if your partner cheated and ruined your marriage, but it is for damn sure your responsibility to figure out how to take that pain and how to overcome that and build a happy life for yourself.
No matter how far you get in life, you have to be able to go back to scratch in your mind at a moment's notice. You can never get so far beyond scratch.
Describe why it is important to you. This is a process where you either talk yourself into it or talk yourself out of it.
Question, are you going to be defined by what stood against you or how you got over it? I'll tell you something right now. I want to find out what's on the other side of the wall. Because people don't put up walls unless they're concerned about something on the other side. So whatever the devil has been fighting you with, I just wonder, why is he so threatened and worried about you getting through it? What's on the other side?
I didn't say you'll never feel fear. Make sure that you understand what I'm saying. You will feel fear. But feeling fear and fearing are two different things. You see, you can feel fear and yet not be afraid. Because the word fear means to take flight or to run away from. It means to shrink back.
And they're not bad people. Sometimes they're just jealous. They don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to let someone new in. And this is when it's tempting to get offended, get baited into conflict, live defensive. You have to stay on the wall. Leave it alone. Trust God to fight your battles.
I don't know what it is, but it seems like if we're not careful, we will miss out on joy. There's like these joy barriers, and we have joy challenges. We have things that are trying to rob us of our joy. Life is living and then waiting to live. Sometimes if we're not careful, we will just miss out on all the opportunities to actually be living.
You got to be realistic. You see, you're going to face challenges. But if you can identify those obstacles in advance, guess what? They're not going to be so intimidating. As a leader, I am always trying to think of what are going to be the next barriers to doing what you want to do, to achieving whatever you want to achieve, having whatever you want to have. I'm not thinking about right now. I'm thinking about what are the problems we're going to have next year, 5 years, 10 years.
Things happen to you, or they can happen in you. And what happens in you is an initiative, a willingness, a determination, a stirring up of something. I said, no, this ain't going down like this. No, this is not the end of the story. No.
Sharing, and we're talking about sharing out of our personal life. Sharing is where, instead of you sit down and I kind of tell you what I think you probably need to know. If I share with you, I say, you know what, here, sit right beside me. Here, sit right beside me, okay? And I want you to sit beside me because I want you to experience what I experience. I want you to feel what I feel. I want you to see what I see. I want you to watch me as we're in this crisis.
Us being our own mountain. It's like, man, you know, the peaks and valleys, we got a lot of challenges in lives and mountains to climb. I suffer from it sometimes. We all suffer from it. But are you your own mountain? Harriet Tubman said, I was able to free over 1,000 slaves. I would have freed even more slaves if they would have known that they were slaves.
We have goals on a daily basis and a weekly basis and a monthly basis, and personal goals and familial goals and social goals, but all of that has to be nested in the broader world of value. Let's say all of that has to be nested within something like, well, what is the ultimate goal? What is the final goal underneath which all of those more proximal goals are subsumed?
Fault and responsibility do not go together. It sucks, but they don't. When something is somebody's fault, we want them to suffer. We want them punished. We want them to pay. And we want it to be their responsibility to fix it. But that's not how it works, especially when it's your heart. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone.
When you accomplish something in life, if you want to go back to scratch and go back to that $7 a month place where I once lived and visit that place for a long period of time, if you were here when you went back to scratch, you would now be here. Scratch is what makes you better. Scratch, friction, obstacles create growth. There's no friction when you're this far up in the game anymore. You think there is. That's right. When you achieve so much, the friction is minor.
When you're unclear as to why something is important, usually you put only half-hearted effort into it. What you want is a powerful motivator, but the reason why you want it is an even more powerful motivator. It has greater pull. You may find that some of your goals you thought at first glance were important are not important after all.
Tell somebody I got something to give. No, I'm not just surviving for me. I've got something special. I've got something to give. It will be the fruit of what I've been through that will preserve my purpose. Sit next to a fruitful vine.
And I just wonder how many people are here today that you're not where you should be in life because Satan has held you back with fear. You can do it afraid. That means you can feel fear, you can feel afraid, but you can still go ahead and do what you believe God wants you to do.
They put me down, discredit me, when in fact I'm trying to be a source for good, then forget it. I don't need it. I'll stay where I'm appreciated. Here's the principle again. You don't have to guard your reputation, but you do have to guard your heart. God is going to take care of your reputation. The question is, are you going to take care of your heart?
Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. What he's suggesting is that many of us, we're kind of all waiting to live. It's what Ortberg talks about, that where we get caught in this moment. Like maybe some of you, you're going on vacation this summer and it's like you're kind of just miserable until you get to vacation. Some of us, like we live our whole life just waiting for Friday, and it's like Friday, now I can have joy.
Try to think through what could hold us back. What are the unintended consequences of what we're doing right now? What I'm talking about is just being a wise woman or being a wise man. The wise man looks ahead, but the fool attempts to fool himself and won't face the facts. They won't face the facts. Ever met anybody like that? They're in total denial of reality.
When I decided I was going to get another house for my mother, I had no clue in how I was going to do it. No clue. But in tradition, like my mother, I believed I could do it, and I did it. I don't tell you this to impress you, but to impress upon you, don't you throw in the towel on yourself because of what has happened to you.
Sharing basically is inclusive. It's not, I know something you don't know, I'm going to teach you, although mentoring has that, no question about it. It's kind of like, I'm going to let you on the inside. I'm going to let you see me. It's what I tell communicators all the time. And leaders, do you want fans or friends? If I want fans, I'm going to constantly make sure that my level of excellence is so far above yours that you just can applaud me, but you can say, wow, that man is amazing, but I can never achieve what he achieves.
I believe that every man and every woman individually can create a better outcome for their life, situation, career, and circumstance if they stop self-sabotaging and going out of their way to fuck up their own situations.
Most of us are also afraid of the unfamiliar. I've never done that before. I've never lived in that city before.
There's something about free speech that's so central, but it's very useful to have it articulated and to know that this is bedrock, right? And it's not something arbitrary. It's not a mere game that we're only playing in the West. None of that. It's the most fundamental truth that the human race has ever discovered. And we lose it at our absolute peril. And it's not death, it's worse than that, the peril. because there are worse things than death. And the worst thing than death is hell. And we saw plenty of that in the 20th century.
As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, we're jammed and trapped into victim mode. When you're in victim mode, you are stuck in suffering. The road to power is in taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility.
I'm sore. I'm going to get a massage today. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat today. The refrigerator is always full. So your comforts are now, so your discomfort is now very minuscule to your discomfort back here in the $7 a month place. So you have to go back to the total discomfort to then raise your level of where you're at now.
Do some reflecting, refining, and revising. The point is, right now, try to have approximately 4 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year goals that you truly believe in, that inspire you, that you've sold yourself on.
You know, we live in the days where everybody gets a trophy, everybody gets a ribbon, everybody, oh, I'm so sorry you didn't get what you wanted, you didn't get your seat, you didn't get your opportunity, you didn't get to serve where you want to serve, you didn't get the feedback you wanted, nobody told me it was good. And what made him a vine was what he climbed over. You ready? What he climbed over and what he brought forth.
Fear not. And once again, that means to take flight or to run away from. I can't always do something about my feelings, but I can do something about what I do and what I don't do. Maybe I can't help it if I feel afraid, but I can make a choice to go forward anyway, no matter how I feel.
I would hear the rumors. He's opportunistic. He's just in this for himself. He's trying to take advantage, questioning his motives, trying to discredit him. I knew him well. His heart was pure. He had great character, a person of integrity. You can have the best intentions, the purest motives, but there will always be people that try to cast doubt.
I've seen that sometimes. I can be so waiting for a new moment or a new season that it will rob me of the joy I can have right now, today. I can be living today. The other day, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like the other day, I'm going to my car. I wasn't late for a meeting. There wasn't something stressful taking place. There wasn't somebody in the hospital I was going to visit. I was just in a hurry. I don't remember anything else from the day but that. But somehow there's something inside of me that wants to rush through the motions.
What berries? I don't see any berries out there. All they can see is I've got this great dream. Have you thought about it? It's going to take money. It's going to take contacts. It's going to take energy. It's going to take time. Things could go wrong in the economy. You could have a pandemic, you know, all those kind of things. He's saying the fourth step is to stop, go, why don't I have it already? And what could keep me from getting it?
Ladies and gentlemen, there's some things that we don't have proof to verify our faith, to back up, to substantiate it. But we got to trust. We got to believe that what some way, somehow, the Lord will make a way.
I want to get perspective in the crisis. I want to make sure that we have reality, but we also have hope. Okay. It's okay. We're going to make it. It's okay. It's okay. How do they mentor me? Well, the first thing, they give me perspective. Number two, they share out of their personal life. Now, this one I just am passionate about, and I want to do a good job. I hope I do a good job for you. What I'm saying here is when I talk about they share out of their personal life, you sit down and I tell you what I think you need to know.
I got all these gifts and all these talents. I'm so ambitious. I feel like there's no opportunities in this city, state, or country that I live in. So why do you still live there? If you want to get into model or anything in the fashion industry, the mecca of fashion and modeling is New York City. If you're trying to get into music, the mecca is Atlanta.
To provide a definitive answer would mean that we would have to possess the classic attributes of God, at least his omniscience, to be able to finally answer, well, what is it all for? But we're still stuck with the necessity of identifying the highest level goal. And that's really the identification of that goal was exactly what our traditional religious structures were attempting to do.
fighting yourself to maintain positivity is the hardest fight you ever gonna have, right? And it's like that struggle to just stay my course, to, you know, be the person in the world that I wanted to be, no matter what people said. And it was, I started to call it offensive positivity.
Whenever something bad would happen, that's the first thing they would do. The head drops, shoulders roll forward, they look down. That sends a direct message to your brain that I failed. I am a failure. That starts the downward spiral to being a failure. On that mound, you can't ever recover. Your chin is not high, because that shows that you're way too proud. Your chin stays here. Your shoulders stay nice and level. Your feet firmly on the ground.
After you have determined which of your goals are 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year, and after you've made certain your list includes economic goals, things, and personal development goals, I want you to go back to this list again. Now pick out the 4 most important 1-year goals, the 4 most important 3-year goals, the 4 most important 5-year goals, and the 4 most important 10-year goals. Those 16 goals will give you plenty of work for now.
Few people like to suppress their temper, choose a salad over a burger, or quit smoking. Sometimes you do need to exercise pure willpower in contradiction to your feelings. Though, even in these cases, there are strategies in which you can exercise discipline up front, such as in the way you structure your environment, that reduce the need for the exercise of much discipline later on. You can also often learn to like these things you didn't like before. For example, you may think you hate vegetables, but if through discipline you eat them regularly and learn to prepare them well, you may actually come to enjoy their taste. It's possible to change what you want to want. Generally speaking, you shouldn't need too much discipline to pursue the basic building blocks of your life, but you will need it to go deeper and more intensely into them, and to refine their practice. So while you can significantly minimize your reliance on willpower, discipline will always need to be an active force in your life. It won't necessarily push you out the door. It won't always be a guidelines that bubbles over, rather than it can manifest itself as a simple, quiet desire, a feeling of satisfaction you may need to intentionally tune into. It's not the case when you do what you love. You will never work a day in your life. Work will still feel like work, but work can be both hard and pleasurable. Discipline is necessary. Duty is necessary, absolutely. Perception is not always reality.
None of us wake up and say, today is the day I destroy my life. What we do is we make these teeny tiny decisions all day long. We don't even realize it. All day long, these tiny decisions that take you so far off track. And then you wake up like I did and you look at your life and you think, how the hell did I get here? And you have no idea.
It has never been so easy to spend the best hours of your days chasing distractions. You can be distracted or you can get epic work done. You can't do both. Some people, they can't focus anymore. The victim is addicted to distraction. The leader is monomaniacally focused on a few things, so they do not dilute the bandwidth of their focus, their energy, and their potential. I'm suggesting to you, you don't build a wide life and you don't build a wide career, but you go really, really deep.
You got to stay in your lane. You got to keep the main thing the main thing. You got to stay on your mission and not be distracted. You know what you have to do. You're paid to be where you need to be, and don't let anybody distract you from getting your job done. You're paid for what you do and for what you produce, and not for what you're distracted from doing.
Divorce yourself from the herd. Get serious about this. This is your game. This is your life. And before you know it, you will be at the end. We all know that life goes by in a blink. Start process of breaking your addiction to distraction today.
Think about where you spend your time. Is it being wasted or is it being utilized? Handle the stuff in front of you and find every area of your life that you're just like, gosh, I'm spending a lot of time doing this stupid stuff, and get rid of it.
So you end up just wasting no energy on things that don't matter and focusing all your energy on things that matter.
When you understand that you always have a choice to go from autopilot to decision maker, everything in your life, because you will
Winter comes after fall. Night comes after day. Difficulty follows opportunity. Recession always comes after expansion. It's been the rhythm of life for the last 6,000 years of recorded history. So the winters are going to come. The winter of sickness, the winter of disappointment, the winter of devastation, social winters, economic winters, personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long. It's simply called wintertime. But the winters are inevitable. So it has been for the last 6,500 years recorded history. You say, well, Mr. Rohn, what can I do about the winters of life?
That as you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go.
And literally what I've learned in these moments is that I have to stop listening to myself and I have to start talking to myself. I'm like, Rich, you're great. I'm like, looking in the mirror like, you can do this. Rich, you can handle this. Rich, this is not a big deal. Rich, this is gonna pass. You're amazing. Rich, this too shall pass.
You got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't, you're bombarded with negative stuff every day that beats you down, and you will find yourself unconsciously engaged in self-destructive behavior. If you don't program yourself, life will program you.
There's two sides of pain. There's one side of pain that's the suffering and the discomfort side of pain. But then there's another side of pain that's called effort. It's called glory. And if you never tap into it, it's because the first time you felt that you backed off. The first time you felt, that burn. The first time you felt that it's too much. We rationalize with ourselves to where we automatically stop. That's why a bunch of us give up so much in life so quickly. But suppose I told you the greatest pain of my life is the reason I'm standing here today. See, sometimes we think the pain is what controls us. It's actually our subconscious mind. That if we ever tapped into that, that's what dictates most of our lives.
You got to get grounded. You got to train your mind to serve you. Just make up your mind. This is not going to control you.
You have got to make a declaration. This is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it. And you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation.
When God gives you a dream, the dream will always be tested. The pressure in your life right now has a purpose. It's not crushing you. It's pushing what's on the inside of you out. It shows you who you are.
It's a dog fight. It hadn't been easy. It's a dog fight. The road hadn't been success, like it's just a paved road and like E.T. go this way. It's been rough. It's been crooked. It's been hard. But I made up in my mind that I will get a reward for the pain that I go through. I will not stop in the middle of the process. I will not be defeated. I will not be destroyed. I will take everything that happens in my life and I will allow the pain to push me to greatness. You will not break me. You will not stop me. You will not defeat me. The only way I lose is if I quit. It's going to be a dogfight.
I choose to fight back. Life is rough. You can allow it to destroy you, or you can allow it to build you up. Draw the line, ladies and gentlemen, and just say enough is enough.
Get out of that narrow-mindedness. Get out of that defeated mentality. Get away from that circle. Get away from those people that don't wish you any good. Get away from those people that don't want you to succeed. Get out of the tent. Get out!
Here's what's exciting about the passing of time. It takes you through whatever you're experiencing at the moment. That's what time will do, take you through the winter. Now, how do you handle the winters? Make this little note. You can get better, and you can get stronger, and you can get wiser. There's no winter that you can't overcome. There's no winter that you can't figure out how to survive. You must look out for your enemies. And believe me, we're going to have some. There's going to be political enemies. There's going to be social enemies. There's going to be people that'll be envious. They will not be your friends.
How you gonna show power if you're not up under attack? How you gonna show resistance if something's not trying to pull you over? Resist, resist. Stop being neutral and stop being indifferent. Resist. Take a stand and resist. And each battle brings you to another level. I thank God for the stuff I had to fight. I don't know that I've spent a day in my life thanking God for my car. I appreciate the car, but just be walking around the house thanking God, ooh, thank you for the Mercedes, thank you for that, thank you for the Bentley, not a day, thanking it for stuff, thank you for this house, thank you for this pool, thank you for that, no, because all that stuff, when you get in trouble, you don't even notice it, it don't even make no difference. When you're really up under attack and the enemy's coming after your children and after your health and after your mind, you don't care what you're driving, I might as well be driving a bus, it don't make no difference. But I thank Him for the stuff I had to fight.
There's nothing as powerful as the human spirit. You can't destroy. You can pervert it, but you can't destroy.
If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
One of the major things Shove taught me when I met him, he said, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. And Shove taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. He quoted me a Bible phrase that says, as you think, so you become. How awesome. When he talked about poor thinking habits, he had me. I used to start the day reading the morning newspaper. I mean, you can believe that or not. I'd get a cup of coffee and read the paper. I'd load up on wars and riots and murders and stabbings and killings and bank robberies and muggings and car wrecks and tragedies. I'd even read the back pages. I seem to like that stuff for some weird reason. I'd load up on all that, and then I'd start the day. You can imagine the kind of days I used to have. The guy says, I want to be a great leader. Wonderful. The first thing we do is follow him to his house. When we get there, we walk in and check his library. Number one. Somebody says, well, why check his library? The reason is because what a man reads pours massive ingredients into his mental factory, and the fabric of his life is built from those ingredients. You would not believe what some people have got in their house to read. You would not believe it. One of the best dressed up words I know for a lot of it is trash. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. You might as well try making a cake with cement. The kids back in Danbury, Connecticut, high school, they're asking me questions one day. I'm talking to the kids. Kids got good questions these days. One of them said to me, Mr. Rohn, how do you build the good life? I said, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's how you build anything. Select the right ingredients, keep out the wrong ingredients, and it starts with thought. Everything starts with thought. So you must be wise and careful what you think about, because that starts everything. You gotta be wise and careful. I asked the kids, what would happen if somebody dropped sugar in my coffee? They said, will you be okay? I said, what if somebody dropped strychnine in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson 1. Life is both sugar and strychnine. You gotta be careful. I said, what if my worst enemy drops in the sugar? They said, will you be okay? I said, what if my best friend, even by accident, drops in the strychnine? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson 2, watch your coffee.
It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you don't take any objection or disappointment or defeats personally, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. And here's something you've got to resolve. Say this to yourself every day. See, as long as you're breathing, you got a shot at your dream. That's the way I resolve. Say this, please. It's not over until I win. Not over till I get through. It's not over till I get over. Not over till I get what I want. Door can't open today, look out. I'm going to come back and take the hinges off. You've got to have that kind of courage, that type of determination. If you want to make it happen, it's you. That you've got to take personal responsibility to make it happen.
I'm asking you to stand at the door. I'm asking you, whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever pushes against you, push it back. Whatever wants to overwhelm you like a father, stand up, take control, and do battle with your enemies wherever you find them. Now here's one more. We must also deal with the enemies within ourselves. Some of the enemies are a lot closer than that. They are within. And I want to give you a list of some of the things to watch out for when you get back home, called enemies within yourself. Here's the first one, indifference. Whatever you do, practice not being casual. You've got to shake off sometimes the lethargy that would say, oh, well, maybe it's not going to work for me. Don't be casual. Casualness creates casualties. You've got to deal with it. Indecision is called the thief of opportunity. Make decisions even if it's a wrong decision. Do the very best you can, make a decision and go with it. If it doesn't work out because it was a wrong decision, I'm telling you, that gives you experience now to make a better decision. Here's the next one, doubt. We've all got to deal with the enemy of doubt. Cynicism has a unique way of crowding in on all of us. Being cynical about society, being cynical about the past, cynical about the future. I'm asking you, don't let that disease grab you by the throat and ruin your chances to do well. Yes, it's easy to doubt that it can happen. It's easy to doubt. We've all got fears that want to crowd in. And here's one of the worst ones of all, and that is to doubt yourself. Don't doubt your own ability. Don't doubt your own strength. You can make it through. Next is worry. I mean, you know, you got to worry some. But here's the clue, don't let it conquer you. Mark this down, let worry alarm you, but don't let it conquer you. We all need to be concerned.
We all need to be concerned. If there's enemies around, we need to be concerned. If it isn't going well, yes, we need to be concerned. But I'm asking you to let it concern, let it touch you, let it alarm you, but don't let it conquer you. Take all of the worries you've got and try to drive them into the smallest corner you can possibly find. So whatever your enemies are here, drive them into a small corner. Here's the next one. Over caution. Hey, in the spring, if you're too cautious, you never will plant the seed. If you're too cautious, you won't take the chance. If you're too cautious, you won't step out front. Make this note. You got to take a chance. Drive your tendency to be too cautious. Drive it into a small corner. Yes, you can't be gullible. No, you can't go for everything. Yes, you've got to be careful. Yes, but don't be so cautious that it paralyzes you. Don't be so cautious that it restricts your chance to do better. See if you can't conquer that. Here's the next one. Pessimism. Yes, there's the dark side. Yes, there's the problem side. Yes, there's the difficult side. But I'm telling you, it's not the only side. Yes, the glass is half empty, but it's also half full. Yes, there's the dark side, but there's the light side. Yes, the night comes, but so does the day. I'm telling you, don't be afraid of both sides, opportunity and difficulty, chance and danger. Learn how to handle it all. Now here's the last one. You've got to deal with it. I have to deal with it. We all have to deal with it. And that's complaining. Yes, there's room for a legitimate complaint. But here's what I'm asking you. Don't let complaining master your life. If you become a chronic complainer, I'm telling you, nobody wants to be around you. Chronic complainer. I wouldn't want you for a business partner. Don't let complaining conquer your life. Don't become a victim of yourself.
Repeat after me, please, with power and conviction. Say, it's possible. That's all I want you to do when you look at your dream. Just say to yourself every day, it's possible. Just say that every day to yourself, it's possible. Because what does that do? See, it begins to change your belief system. See, the way in which we operate, ladies and gentlemen, it's a manifestation of what we believe, what's possible for us. Whatever you've done up to this point, all that it really is a duplication, it's a reproduction of what you believe subconsciously that you deserve and what's possible for your life.
You got to be careful. See, it doesn't matter who hands you the bad stuff. It doesn't matter where you get the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your bank account. Wherever you get it. Mr. Schoaf gave me one of the greatest phrases when I first met him when he said, Jim, every day stand guard at the door of your mind. How important. Stand guard at the door of your mind. And you decide what goes into your mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want to in your mental factory, because you've got to live with the results. Philosophy is simply what you know. Now, to correct a couple of old cliches, what you don't know will hurt you. And to correct another one, ignorance is not bliss. Boy, it's so important to have the correct philosophy. It's so important to know. Philosophy sets the course of your life. Philosophy is simply what you know. So it's important to know. I'm telling the kids these days, make sure you get the information while you're here. I'm talking to the Newport Harbor high school kids in some lectures last year and this year. And my encouragement is, make sure you get all the information while you're here. I know it's laborious. I know it isn't easy to read the books and take the classes and try to get good grades. But hey, while you're here, gather it all up. The book you miss will make a difference. Right? The information you don't get will make a difference in the legacy of your equities over the next few months, the next few years. So philosophy, this is where it all begins. Now, I've divided philosophy into three parts. One is basic, starting out philosophy. The baby starts processing information right away. Cold is bad, warm is good, hungry is awful, food is terrific. The baby starts reacting and processing information and having certain reactions to it. So our philosophy starts early, gathering information and reacting to it. Next is expanded philosophy. At least enough philosophy to be gainfully employed and offer a value to society and find your place in the marketplace. You know, be a reasonable, decent human being. Expanded philosophy. But now how do you become wealthy and powerful and sophisticated, influential and unique? Simple word, refined philosophy. The refinement of philosophy. The extra studies and the extra books and the extra classes and the extra thinking, the extra pondering, the extra give and take of testing ideas and debate and discussion. That's where the extra life comes from, is in the dimensions of refined philosophy, the extra thinking. And these are the steps of intellectual discovery that a lot of people just don't want to take, or they're too busy to take it, or it presents itself in too strong and tough a manner, these extra skills. But I'm telling you, once you start engaging in these extra skills, you won't ever want to go back. This new intellectual discovery is where the wealth is. It's where the happiness is, the good life, influence, power. Refinement of philosophy. Now, our philosophy comes from a lot of places. Let me give it to you. Number one, from teaching, the influence of others, from the books we read, from the classes we take. And you might underline the word influence. This is where a big share of our philosophy comes from. Influence. In another series, we asked 3 major questions. Who am I around? That's called big questions. Some questions are little and some are big. This is a big one. Who am I around? Question number 2, what are they doing to me? This is called major. This is called big. Where have they got me going? What have they got me reading? What have they got me thinking? What have they got me saying? And the big biggie, what have they got me becoming? Influence plays a major role in the development of our philosophy. How we think, how we speak, the formulation of ideas, the things we weigh concerning values. All of this is so important. What we know, the mind, thinking, processing ideas and information. Ideas are simply information taking form. Now, we do something very important with what we know. We weigh it. We put it on our mental scales and we weigh it. And I don't know, we may give it a number from 1 to 10. Probably not consciously. But if we hear something and we come into possession of some information and we give it a 10, we'll probably act on it right away. If we give it a 1, we'll probably let it slide. If it's important, we'll do something about it. If we don't think it's important, we'll probably let it go. But it's so important to evaluate. A key word we learn in leadership skill training, perception. Trying to find value in something. Where is the value? How valuable is it? How important is it? Is there something here that I can't see at first glance? Is there something below the surface? Is there something in the inner workings of it? What goes behind it? What goes beyond it? What is its origin? All of these questions that help us come to the perception of value, ideas, evaluating information. Now, here's what's important, to have a good set of mental scales. What if in processing information your mental scales were off? And you weighed everything a little wrong? Do you think that would affect your life? The answer is, of course. And all you got to be is a little off for 10 years. And you can imagine what the difference is. I got a key phrase for you. Life accumulates. We either accumulate the debt or the value. We either accumulate the regret or we accumulate the equity. Now, we must all suffer one of 2 pains. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And I'm suggesting discipline. Mental discipline to refine ideas. Of course it's laborious and of course it's a push, but it's called small price to pay so that you won't have the regret later on. Regret weighs tons. Discipline weighs ounces. So if you accept the early ounces of discipline of thought to refine ideas and not just let major questions go by, what about society? What about the government? What about taxes? What about religion? What about life? What about capital? What about business? What about society? All of these major questions. What about my life and my value and my place and my future? And what about life? What about origin? What about destiny? What about opportunity? What about possibility? All of these major questions, to let them go casually by is to miss the treasures that your life could accumulate into in the coming months, the coming years. So this is called major. What we ponder and what we think about sets the course of our life. It's like the set of the sail that's taking us somewhere. Let me give you a good question to write down. Where are my thoughts taking me? This is a biggie question. Where are my thoughts taking me? These are some of the things you want to make sure of. You might be able to be casual about some things, but here's some things not to be casual about. My philosophy is taking me somewhere. Big question, where?